Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the English shooting live stream. I will, of course, be your host this evening, Callum, and thank you so much for joining. For all you regulars, you know what the deal is, but for anybody new, thanks for stopping by. This is your opportunity to talk about all things shooting, specifically the past week or so's news and topics, but an opportunity to ask any questions, whether you're wanting to get into the sport and you don't know where to start, your first gun, ammunition to use, or finding a local range, or navigating our very complex firearms law here in the UK. And it doesn't just have to be UK, we can talk about all worldwide shooting news and topics if you want. But anything you want to ask or have your opinion heard, then use that comment section, that chat section, whatever you want to call it, to get involved. And of course, more importantly, make sure you like the stream and leave a comment and subscribe. So I hope you've all had a past couple of weeks. Apologies, I hope you've all had a good past couple of weeks. Oh, it's late. We're not off to a good start, are we? Apologies for last week. Things are gearing up. We seem to have a let's say quiet period or for all of a month or two, and then everything just gears up for the season and then it all goes mental. So yes, I've got to keep the lights on and pay the bills, and unfortunately the YouTube money is just not as strong as you may think. So I've actually got to do some sort of actual work to bring, if you can call what we do at Magload actual work, but I'd like to think so. But anyway, we're here, and one pretty much sole topic to discuss this evening. There's not really been really that much going on. We will be talking about the consultations, just as a reminder that you need to fill out later on in we'll talk about them later in the stream, but you do need to fill them out, and there will be a dedicated video on those coming soon. The main topic is this hailed victory by BASC. Let's see if I can remember how to share the screen. So this is news that has only come out in the past few days or so. BASC's Fighting Fund secures significant victory for members. Now, any long-term viewers of this stream will understand my propensity and eagerness to do a little bit of BASC bashing, and I do try to keep it balanced. I do try to keep things fair, and over the past couple of years, I would say I've been pretty supportive. I think where credit's due. They've done some pretty good work, but it doesn't really take that much for me to, I don't know, call shenanigans. And there's a lot of shenanigans to be called with this, if I'm going to be completely honest. But on the face of it, this is a very good story. It's certainly for the member that it concerns, and I will be going over the history of this fighting fund and the controversial birth of it. But let's just take this at face value to begin with. BASC's Fighting Fund secures a significant victory for member. The Fighting Fund, set up by BASC to fight the corner of members who have been victims of injustice, has successfully helped a member to win costs against the police. The BASC member was awarded costs of £4,000 after a successful appeal against revocation of his certificate. BASC put Cheshire Constabulary on notice last year that costs would be sought in the event of appeal being upheld. The judge ruled in the member's favour, citing the fact that the case should have been resolved last year, reflected in the decision by Cheshire Constabulary to concede prior to the case coming to court. The member's solicitor commented that no reasonable firearms licensing authority would take the view on the available evidence that they should be deprived of a certificate, something I can definitely relate to. Commenting on the case, BASC's Director of Firearms, Bill Harriman, said this is a prime example of BASC's Fighting Fund in action, supporting a member with a good case, and we're delighted we've been able to help contest this ill-considered and risk-averse decision. Cost orders in favour of the applicant are uncommon and indicate how strong the case was. The This whole appeal could have been avoided. The police had 5 months to consider conceding, but left it to the last minute, causing unnecessary stress to our member. So, again, on the face of it, absolutely nothing to sort of pick holes in. But as you all know, that's not the sort of person I am. I will go digging and picking. And first of all, where I first found this was actually, a valuable resource to the shooting community. And if you're not already subscribed, I would highly recommend subscribing to Field Sport channel. Yes, they do focus more on a bit more hunting, country pursuits, and all of that. Less of the, let's just say, target shooting, certainly practical shooting, but it is covered on there. This is where I first picked up on this, and I can't actually remember whether it was Field Sports channel or indeed Bill Harriman later on in the video. I'm pretty sure it was Bill Harriman, but I'll stand to be corrected on that. That talked about it being compensation, and that's what sort of pricked my ears up at first, talking about it being, compensation, because I'm like, well, hang on a minute. If you're able to get a bit of cash now for them withholding your certificates for no reason at all, then, well, that might be something I'm quite interested in. But to put it straight, it's not compensation. And I think anybody, whether it's Field Sports or Bill Harriman, calling it compensation is misguiding at the very least. Because as this article goes on, it's the costs. Now, this we could go all which ways with this evening. This is one of my bone of contentions with the whole revocation and appeal process, right? Because if you lose, you are not only due, obviously, to your own costs, but the costs of that of the police. So you effectively have to pay the police to uh, uphold your revocation, right? But as far as I'm aware, it's never been the other way around. If you challenge an appeal and you are successful and have that appeal overturned, this is the first case that I have ever heard of where costs have been awarded to the appellant, I think is the correct legal term. So this could be fairly significant, set some sort of precedent going forward that at least your costs are covered, which is still no real big deal. Actually, yes, £4,000, it's a lot of money, and I'd rather have the certificates and the £4,000, but that money's already been spent. They are your costs, so it's very clear it's not compensation. It's purely just your costs in challenging them. But this is part of the element that makes it so weighted against us as firearms owners, is because when you launch an appeal, you have to pay your solicitor, you have to pay your barrister all up front. And if you lose, you're then hit with an additional bill for the other side, which is why a lot of people don't challenge their appeals, because first of all, not everyone has the money to actually fund their own solicitor and barrister, and even more so, even less people have enough money to cover that and then potentially the other side. So it's very much weighted in the favor of the police. You either have to not care about money or have legal expenses insurance. And that is where this fighting fund comes in. And it's, uh, again, I really think BASC is playing a little bit of shenanigans with the wording here, and specifically with this story. So let's rewind 4 years ago. The Fighting Fund. The BASC Fighting Fund was launched in July 2020, so almost 4 years ago now, to make, and the wording on this is very, very significant. The BASC Fighting Fund was launched in July 2020 to make a significant contribution to promoting and protecting sustainable shooting and conservation in the UK. But we go on to this latest article. The Fighting Fund, set up by BASC to fight the corner of members who have been victims of injustice, has successfully helped a member to win costs against the police. So, first of all, there just seems to be maybe a bit of confusion in BASC of exactly what this Fighting Fund was set up for. Now, don't get me wrong, the contributing to promoting, protecting sustainable shooting and conservation within the UK, and furthermore, going back to the Fighting Fund page, the seven-figure fund holds ring fence reserves that will enable the association to push forward with proactive legal initiatives to secure the future of shooting. In addition, it enables BASC to launch effective defences to disruptive legal challenges that could negatively impact our community. Nowhere does it say that is for the members. Nowhere does that say, unlike the more recent article, that the Fighting Fund was set up by BASC to fight the corners of members. And I think the reason they're playing a little bit of silly buggers with this is because of where this Fighting Fund came from. Now, again, rewind back to 2020, we were having all the issues of the general licenses and Chris Packham causing absolute misery for landowners, farmers, shooters alike. And it was quite evident that BASC wanted to redirect a lot of money to fight specific larger causes like the general licenses. And what did they do to be able to raise that money? Well, they cancelled the members' legal expenses insurance. And this is something that we've talked about so many times on the channel. You, as a certificate holder here in the UK, as somebody that's thinking of becoming a certificate holder here in the UK, you absolutely must have legal expenses insurance, not shooting insurance or liability insurance or whatever. It has to be specifically legal expenses insurance. If you are challenged in any which way, including a refusal, a revocation, you need an insurance in place to make sure that as long as you've got a above 50% chance of winning that appeal or challenging it successfully, then you will be issued the money from the insurance company to fight it. This removes that potential financial barrier in challenging revocations and challenging refusals, because as we've seen, the costs of this one BASC member was £4,000. The cost of the other side will be a similar amount. It is roughly about £10,000 in total if you are unsuccessful in one of these appeals, which is why you need the legal expenses insurance, so that you're not on the hook for that. And the UK PSA membership covers legal expense insurance, legal expenses insurance for all of its members. There's Gunplan or RIPE. I think they keep changing their name. There are loads available that you can go out and get. But as part of the BASC membership, you used to have it included, and then they decided to drop it. And whilst at the time I challenged it and actually ended up speaking to, I think it was the director of communications for BASC, Christopher, I was right on the tip of my tongue, a guy called Christopher. He said there's absolutely no link. There's no link at all, that we've saved money from dropping the insurance and now we have this seven-figure fighting fund. And I'm like, what are you talking about? If you save 7 figures here and suddenly spend 7 figures there, of course it's connected, right? Your cash, you only have a certain amount of cash flow, right? If you're going to spend 7 figures here, you've got to save it somewhere else, and you just so happen to be saving that now with your insurance. And this was bad when it came in place back in 2020, and I was absolutely gobsmacked that it is one of the main reasons I was a BASC member. It's the main reason so many other people were BASC members. And then what happened? We've had this epidemic of revocations, of refusals, yes, not helped by events such as Kiam, which of course BASC wouldn't have been able to foresee and never planned for. And certainly the way that the police have reacted, or certain firearms licensing departments have reacted, nobody could have ever foreseen that. But literally right before the worst period that I've ever been made aware of, apart from the bans, within the history of shooting here in the UK, the attacks that certificate holders have had upon them, armed police turning up at all weird hours at their door, asking for them to surrender their firearms. Literally the worst period ever. Right before that, BASC drops the tool that is most valuable in allowing these people to fight their corner, to overturn these appeals. So you have to ask the question that for BASC to make the decision to drop such a valuable tool to its members during a period where they have needed it the most, this fighting fund must be put to good use. This fighting fund must counteract the damage that it's done by removing the legal expenses insurance. And unfortunately, in those 4 years, this is the first time that I've been made aware of, or certainly the first time I'm aware of, and I'm pretty sure the first time BASC has ever talked about a singular member being defended by this fighting fund. Yes, they've used the fighting fund for things like the general licenses, attacks on game shooting, and other conservation efforts, mainly down to the attacks from Chris Packham. And I'm not saying that the money that they've spent on those efforts isn't well spent. But in 4 years, this is the first time that it's been used to actually defend one of their members, and suddenly they're hailing this as some great success. How many people have needed this? How many people could have made use of their legal expenses insurance over the past 4 years? And they want to sit there and hail this as a massive win. Just one member out of 150,000 members has had a success from their fighting fund. And this is what I was worried about all along. Whilst they did mention and talk about it, that individual cases would be assessed, it was like, well, who's going to assess them? Previously, it was a pretty clean-cut case where the solicitors were, and I thought, the insurance company and the solicitors would work together. They were third parties, impartial, and they would make a judgment call of the percentage rate, their predicted percentage rate of success. And if it was 51% or higher, you would get funding. It was pretty. There's a little bit of interpretation there, a little bit of a little bit of people. Oh, what's the word? A lot of subjectiveness. People had to. It wasn't as clean cut, but it was certainly a lot more clean cut than BASC deciding. Right? What metrics are they using to decide whether a case has a good chance of success, whether a case is worthy of their legal fighting fund? So I don't know. I've still very much got a sour taste in my mouth from them dropping the legal expenses insurance. And when they come out like this and hail it as some great success, it only sours more. Then to sort of blur the lines of, oh, this fund was always set up to protect its members. Well, where have they been protecting the members that have had police turn up at 2:00 in their, turn up at 2:00 at their house in 2:00 in the morning at their house, right? Where has the money been there, right? I've spoken to dozens of people, over the years, well, probably a lot more than dozens. I've spoken to a lot of people. I've become the maybe revocation guru. And I would say week in, week out, there's somebody that messages me with their own unique case and they need help. And it's those people that I end up saying, unfortunately, a lot of the time, that unless you have the £10,000 to cover your own costs and potentially the cost of the police, you're sort of between a rock and a hard place. You've got to now fund your own solicitor, unless you can pull on BASC's heartstrings and get them to fund you. But one case in 4 years, that doesn't really fill me with much hope. And even on the same page, they're contradicting each other, well, themselves. Set up by BASC to fight the corner of members who have been victims of injustice, has successfully helped a member to win its case. And on the same page, the Fighting Fund was launched in July 2020 to make a significant contribution to promoting and protecting sustainable shooting and conservation in the UK. And again, so even on the same page, they're contradicting themselves. And the biggest problem I had with them removing the legal expenses insurance and setting up this fighting fund is that they removed a service. They removed the ability for all members to have the chance to have their day in court, and they replaced it with a fund that was at the discretion of BASC and BASC alone. So something that benefited everybody to something that would benefit the few, benefit only certain types of shooting. Have they spent it trying to protect target shooting? Have they spent it trying to protect, Mars and lever release? Have they spent that money on other target areas of our target sports area of our sport? No, it's predominantly, if not exclusively, been spent on game shooting, on the general licenses, on everything other than the target shooting, and that's fine. BASC is at heart a wildfowling association, right? That is their area of expertise. That's their area of focus. But previously, it didn't matter whether you were a wildfowler, whether you're a pigeon shooter, a game shooter, a rough shooter, or you're a target shooter, a practical shooter. If you are a member of BASC, you would have that legal expenses insurance and you'd be able to fight your day in court. And they removed it from everyone. So yes, I'm sorry, not going to buy it that this is some great success, and buy that the fund was set aside specifically to fight the corners of members, because if they have, or if they did, 1 over 4 years, I'm not buying that. Furthermore, I've always had the niggling question of exactly how much money was set aside for this for this fighting fund, and actually how much a year they're spending on it. Now, I haven't had enough time to truly forensically examine the accounts that are available publicly from BASC, but I did find them, and it is quite interesting. First of all, so this is what page we're on, 11, so I can come back. So this is the annual return for the British Association of Shooting and Conservation Limited to the Financial Conduct Authority, and then we have the report of the Executive and Finance Committee and financial statements. Unfortunately, it's not as detailed as I would have liked, but I'm sure the information that I really want is out there. I just haven't had time to go and dig it. But what you'll really want to pay attention to is a consolidated statement of financial position covering the 2020 year and 2019 year. And here we have net assets, capitals, and reserves. Oh, look, the fighting fund. So this was the first year, 2020, that the fighting fund was set aside. And just to remind you, the fighting fund page, it says the seven-figure fund holds ring fence reserves, 7-figure. But in 2020, it was £706,400 £706,470. Now, I might not be a mathematical genius, but I can count to 7. BASC doesn't seem to be able to, because you can do it with me here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, they have other funds available, right? And this legacy fund, to me, they've got this accumulated fund, but this legacy fund, just because of the amount being around that, 400,000, and you've got 700,000. Yes, if you plus those together, you'll get that 7 figures. But this legacy fund, as far as I can find out, is due to people leaving legacies in wills. And going back to the accounts, that legacy fund was there previously in the 2019 accounts. So where are they getting 7 figures from? Like, again, they could be combining these, but it's like, well, no, hang on a minute. you had £300,000 sat there already from this legacy fund. Again, they've got that 718, although that doesn't seem to move. Whether that can be redistributed and reallocated, they could pull funds from elsewhere. But having a line item in your accounts that says fighting fund, and then to say everybody that you have a 7-figure fighting fund, regardless of if you're going to pull the money from elsewhere, you don't have a 7-figure fighting fund. That is a 6-figure fighting fund. Now, don't get me wrong, that's still a hell of a lot of money, right? I wouldn't sniff at £706,000. That is for sure. You could even keep the change, but that's not a 7-figure fighting fund. And then moreover, if we come to the most recent accounts, which cover 2022 and 2021, so you can see 2020 there, the fighting fund has now dropped to £550,000. Now, granted, the legacy fund, and this is what sort of gives me an inclination that these two are in some way linked, and BASC are adding these to be able to use as their fighting fund as they see fit, because the numbers, as you can see from 2021 and 2022, the numbers together continuously add to over 1 million, giving that 7 figures. But this legacy fund, you know, again, it's a separate fund. Why have it separate? Why are you hailing it as a 7-figure fighting fund when your fighting fund literally says 500,000? Now, whether they've been spending and adding in some, again, I haven't been able to go through the accounts in quite that much detail, and I don't know if that detail actually exists. But over the last 4 years, seemingly taking these numbers at face value, again, they could have topped it up and spent more. So the total spend could be a lot more than this. But the total movement between those years seems to suggest that they've only spent £150,000 over the last 4 years, averaging to, it's going to be something in the region of like £36,500. £37,500. Now, again, that concerns me, and I could be wrong. They could be topping it up and spending and topping it up and spending, right? But if they haven't topped that up and they started with this 700,000, and they've or what was it again? It was, the exact number was first year, yeah, £706,000, and now it stands at £550,000. They're only spending £37,500 a year from that fund, unless they're topping it up and obviously spending it more. But at £37,500, that's less than the total cost of insurance for the UK PSA. And I could put a lot of money on the fact that BASC's insurance as a whole for its 150,000 members would be significantly more than an association of 1,400 members. So again, one of the figures that I've never been able to obtain or find, and maybe I'll do some more digging and get hold of it, is actually how much the insurance was costing BASC a year. Now, insurance, you get, you know, economies of scale, so it's not going to be directly proportional, but for 1,400 members and its clubs, I mean, the club insurance is an addition. I don't think BASC does that, but the UK PSA, it costs about £40,000 a year for its insurance. So that's for a membership of 1,400 people. So for a membership, so offering you know, liability and legal expenses insurance, or moreover, you could take an example like Gunplan. For an individual costs about, you can get it under 20 quid. And of course, again, buying it through membership, you're going to get a bulk discount. I think it worked out, what does that work out with for the UK PSA? This is all stuff I had in my head previously. It works out, so £40,000 divided by the 1,400 members is £28.50 per member. That seems a lot higher than I remember. But even if you say it's £10, even if you say if it's £5 per member that these insurances cost, and it should be a lot more than that, 150,000 members times a fiver, you're talking £750,000. Okay, they are still offering insurance, not legal expenses. It gets very. This is why I want to find the exact numbers, because trying to speculate it, it's incredibly difficult to estimate or even guesstimate these. So what we're trying to work out here is how much they saved dropping the legal expenses insurance. I know that significantly increased the UK PSA's premium when they added that. So I think at a minimum £5 per member is probably the right ballpark. So even if you put that that's about £750,000 a year that they would be spending to offer the legal expenses insurance, and we're seeing the funds decrease by an average of £37,500 a year. So they've gone from saving 750,000 to effectively spending. Again, there's a few. Oh god, Discord is buzzing. Why are you sending me this? Anyway, I'm sure I'll get justification for it in a second. Yes, I am. Is it like right there in my face or something? Or I'm missing something. I did scan this right before. I don't know what you've said. Explanation, please. I think the long and the short of it, and the point that I'm trying to get to, is that yes, it sounds like a great number, seven figure fighting fund, when actually it's six. By the line of the account, it's a six-figure fighting fund. And yes, that sounds like a lot of money, but when you break it down, the amount of money that BASC is saving by not paying for legal expenses insurance for those members is probably at a minimum £750,000 a year. So we've gone from having a valuable tool, a valuable asset, yes, at quite a significant cost, but BASC effectively investing a minimum of £750,000 a year into their legal expenses insurance for their members, to only having a fund of £750,000. And that's not an annual recurring. It doesn't seem to be an annual recurring cost. They're saving a huge amount of money and, in effect, investing a lot less in protecting shooters going forward. Yes, they've got more money to go for specific causes and specific legal challenges, like the general licenses. But in the epidemic that we've had over the past 2 years, where one of the most important things, and still the most important things for certificate holders, is having that legal expenses insurance, I think they've massively overall missed the mark. 2022, the fund has gone down. Yes, that's what I'm saying, Peppy. I'm sorry, Happy. I think you're doing another "We Can Have Knives." The fund has gone down. We can have knives. It's the BASC's 21 and 22 financials. Yes. Are you high? I don't know what you're getting. Yes, it's the comparison between the fund that they held in 2021 and the fund that they held in 2022. And as I've been saying, it's gone down over the last 3 years, not 4 years technically. Yeah, because it's 2020, 2021, 22. So it's 3 years, not 4 years. So it's gone down an average of £50,000 a year. But again, I seriously think all they've done, and what I suspected, and from everything that I can see, and I could be massive. I could yes, Heppy, it's gone from 750,000 to 550,000. It's literally what I've been saying the last 5 minutes. We can have knives, and the BASC fighting fund has gone down. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know what point you're trying to make, other than the point that I've been trying. I didn't know if you've seen the seen the latest. Yes. Yes, I literally showed it. It's literally here, Happy. I was literally talking about it. I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want from me. I don't know what you mean. What? You're just doing this to screw with me, aren't you? You're getting me to just doubt my own sanity, which is easily done. And anyway, I still there are a lot of assumptions. There's a lot of things that are not particularly clear. Obviously, some more than others to Happy. I think, 4 years down the line, from all of the data that we have, it was a monumental mistake for BASC to drop. We knew it was back then, but the proof is sort of in the pudding now. The numbers and data that we have available to us just proves how much of a mistake it was. That they are seemingly saving hundreds of thousands of pounds at the cost of their members, and it's not like they need to save that money. Again, very consolidated. Let me make this bigger. Consolidated chains of, again, these are actually fairly detailed, and there's a lot of line items and accounts. The profit for the year, £940,000. Transfer to profit from loss account. So it's not like BASC needs the money. It's not like they really needed to save whatever they were saving with the insurance. Okay, if the insurance was the legal expenses insurance was costing them 1.5 million, then then maybe they needed to save it. But in my mind, it would have been far better, and I'm still a firm believer that the legal expenses insurance is far more valuable than this fighting fund. It benefits all members equally and fairly. And again, I really don't know what they've been doing with this fighting fund. Yeah, it's great for this member to have this one bit of success. It's great that this member's been able to get the costs recovered from the police. But this is one story in 4 years. And for this one story, there's hundreds of people that have been left in really difficult situations, that have been unable to challenge the police, unable to challenge the decision to revoke or refuse, because they don't have access to this legal expenses insurance. And there's been so many of people that I've spoken to that still think they get legal expenses insurance because of with their BASC membership, and a lot of people that are utterly shocked and dismayed when they find out that no, that went 4 years ago. But we've got this fighting fund. We can have knives. Happy was obviously too busy looking for the newer financials and didn't notice. I thought you were still sharing the 1920. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Happy. We can have knives, and the fighting fund is going down. But that's it. That's what I was probably additionally shocked at, is that 7 figures. No, I'm sorry. Whatever funds you want to fandangle together to go, we've got 7 figures. No, the line item in your account says, as it stands, £500,000. That is not 7 figures. So what's the best cost-effective legal insurance you would recommend? I'll get through your comments, guys. Again, if you've got any questions, if there's any other topics or discussions you want to chat about, then put them in the comment section, in the chat box, whatever. And I will try my best to get through them all. And don't forget to hit that like button. We've got double the amount of people watching than we have likes. If you're watching and you're not liking, then why are you watching? Unless you work for Hampshire Constabulary or Hampshire Firearms Licensing. Oh, on that note, a little bit of an update. I now actually supposedly have a firm date. So I don't know if I said this in the last live stream or the last live stream before, but anyway, I sent a letter to the chief of police that got forwarded to the new head of Hampshire Firearms Licensing. They were going to discuss my application at a management meeting at the end of February. They've come back and, despite having over 3 years, have asked for another 6 weeks. And the way the email is worded it is very much, and this is with the new head of Hampshire Firearms Licensing, which, in fairness, she's new to the role. She only came in middle of January, so it was, I guess, nice of myself to introduce her. Nice of myself to introduce myself to her. She's probably going to get to know me very, very well. So. Yeah, she only came in middle of January, but it really does look like she's come in to really clean up the department. Hampshire has had a horrendous reputation for many, many years. They got to a point where they were doing applications in 1 or 2 months, which was brilliant, and that lasted all of 5 seconds. It really, amongst other firearms licensing departments, and speaking to members of other firearms licensing departments, and even heads of other firearms licensing departments, Hampshire are not held in that higher regard. So I really think, she's come in with the mindset, or certainly has been told to come in and clean things up, to get the department running effectively, efficiently, and running it as a service to firearms holders here within Hampshire. So, yeah, so I was told 6 weeks, and that was 2 weeks ago. So the clock is ticking now. Whether but basically the way it's been put forward is I will have an answer either way by the end of that 6 weeks, or in 4 weeks' time. What answer I'm going to get, I don't know. At this point, I don't really mind. I just want to be able to progress. If I need to progress within court and appeal, as I still don't really understand how you could justify to any sound-minded judge or magistrates that we've allowed someone to be a servant of an RFD for 3 years, all at the same time we're saying he's a danger to the public and we can't process his certificates. It just sort of doesn't stack up. But anyway, if there's an unforeseen reason of why I'm still able to be a servant of an RFD and work every single day with firearms, with free access to more guns than I could carry and ammunition that I could ever shoot in a lifetime, but not able to have a firearm certificate, I mean, I'm open-minded. I'm sure there may be some logical reason. But anyway, 4 weeks is what I've been told. So maybe I should, to the second, do a live stream, schedule that live stream. So hopefully I will have some progress, whether positive or negative, within the next 4 weeks, and hopefully it's positive and we can all just get on with our lives. So yeah, that's a bit of an update. I've forgotten where we were going with that. Somebody asked me a question and I ended up, yeah. What's the most cost-effective legal insurance you would recommend? Well, there's a lot of people that offer legal expenses insurance, and I did see somebody talking about the CPSA. The problem with the CPSA, and this was confirmed by Laura Sainsbury, who is the in-house counsel for the CPSA and also my solicitor. So she confirmed that, I can't remember exactly what she confirmed, but it doesn't work for firearm certificates. The insurance that they have available, I believe, is also, I think it's not for the refusal of a certificate, but it's only for the revocation of a shotgun certificate. Now, I always thought, if you have a firearm and shotgun certificate and they revoke your shotgun certificate, they're revoking your firearm certificate, and if you appeal the revocation of your shotgun certificate and you are successful in that, that should automatically overturn the revocation of your firearm certificate as well, or coterminous certificate. So I still think CPSA probably gives you some protection from revocation, but there's certainly gaps in it, and it's certainly not all encompassing. A membership that offers you all-encompassing, I think, one of, if not the best coverages for legal expenses insurance within the UK is actually the UK PSA. Obviously, something that I'm quite passionate about and focused on. And whilst the insurance was previously quite good, it was something that I spent quite a bit of time liaising and negotiating on, is having it all encompassing, and we were actually able to get that from the insurers for no additional cost. So that stonks for you right there, getting more for the same amount. It's almost like I knew what I was doing. So the UK PSA insurance, legal expenses insurance. Now, bearing in mind you've got your liability, your public liability insurance, or your shooter's liability insurance, whatever you want to call it. So you know, if you are taking part in practical shooting and there's an accident in any shape or form, then you'll be covered. There are some, you know, caveats to that, you know, suitably qualified and trained and experienced and all of that, but there's guidance on that from the UK PSA. But in terms of the legal expenses insurance, the being a UK PSA member covers you for absolutely everything, whether they revoke, whether they refuse, whether they refuse to issue, whether they refuse to modify, absolutely any sort of issue that you have with your firearm certificate. Being a member of the UK PSA, the legal expenses insurance will cover it. It will cover it for shotgun certificates. It will cover it for firearms certificates. So it really does cover pretty much any issue or angle that you could find yourself in having to go to court around your firearm or shotgun certificate here within the UK. So obviously, in terms of value, if you're a practical shooter and you enjoy practical shooting and you enjoy IPSC shooting, then you know that's really good value, because you should probably already be, or probably already are, a member of the UK PSA. So if you already take part in IPSC competition, you'll already be a member, so you're getting that effectively for free. Or you can join, never take part in an IPSC competition, and still have that legal expenses insurance. The UK PSA membership, because it went up, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. So to join the UK PSA is, if paid by direct debit, £65 a year. Now, obviously, if you are not interested in practical shooting, then you just want, or you're not interested in joining any association or any association or organization or group, then I would highly recommend. Now, a caveat to this: I've never had to use it, and I've never actually heard. I've never actually heard of anybody making use of it successfully. Or let me bring this up, share this tab. So I search for Gunplan. Gunplan is now Ripe Shooting. So if you search for Gunplan, you will still get it. But if you Google Ripe Insurance or Ripe Shooting, then you will stumble upon this. I still really need to become like an affiliate of these guys, because I plug them all the time. But this, I think, is ultimately going to be the best value. And specialist Ripe Insurance, personal accident, public liability. Where's the legal expenses insurance? What's covered? Public shooting equipment. Oh. Legal expenses insurance booklet. Here we go. Legal cover. So it is an optional extra when you go through. Let's see if I can get a quick quote here. So yeah, I would highly recommend this. It's not an association. It's not a group. This is purely insurance. Am I going to have to put in a load of personal details? Entering the total value of shooting equipment. I don't need to insure my equipment. So I think you have to get the public liability. Let's just tick it at 2 mil and keep it. I do not want to. I have a horrible. I have a horrible history of doxing myself and others. So I'm just going to turn off my share screen. Not that I'm particularly sensitive about my email address. If you want to get in contact directly, you can. It's EnglishShooting@gmail.com. But you never know with these autofill boxes what is likely to come up. Right. and it was literally the email address that I need to put on. So let's bring that back up. So for public liability, you're talking 15 quid, and to add on legal expenses, there we go, 11.24. So you can get insured. Yes, we're talking about legal expenses insurance, but you have to get the liability insurance. You're talking £26.50 a year. This is why, to me, there is no justification not to have it. Like, I know everybody's financial situations are different. You know, £26.52 to some people can be quite a lot of money. It can be the difference of putting food on your table or not one week, right? And I appreciate that. But if you're into shooting and you regularly shoot and you have a firearm certificate, I would say that your £26.52 is affordable for you, right? You just think about, you know, like £26. That's not even, oh Jesus, that's not even like 250 rounds of 2.2, right? Of mini mag. Like that's it's getting on for like not even 100 rounds of mini mag. Yeah, that's like 200 rounds of mini mag, right? That's like 4 boxes of cartridges, maybe even 3 boxes of cartridges. So in my mind, like if I go down to the range and you shoot a round of clays, right? You are going to shoot 26 quid's worth of clay of cartridges plus the cost of the clays. If you go down the range with a semi-auto and you're not a target shooter, then you're going to get through a couple of 100 rounds of 2.2. To me, not going shooting that one time in the year, saving the money and getting legal expenses insurance is a far better investment. That is 100% what I would do. I think getting the legal expenses insurance is the first step before you even apply, before you join a club, before you buy your safe. You should go and get it. I really should get affiliated to these guys because I'm plugging them for free here, and I am not. I'm genuinely not affiliated to these guys. I don't get any perks or kickbacks or whatever recommending them. But I use Ripe. I've used them for a number of years now. And £26.52. There's no association out there that you can join for that low. Let's have just a quick look. It's always good to remind myself what it actually covers. So this is their just legal cover. Any one claim £100,000. Any one period of insurance £100,000. Sessions of cover. Certificate appeals, an appeal or representation to the relevant authority following an act or omission or alleged act or omission which leads to the suspension or revocation of your firearm or shotgun certificate where the relevant authority has failed to grant your firearm or shotgun, which leads to the suspension or where yes. So that is covering the suspension. See, suspension. That is interesting. I've not noticed that before. Suspension actually opens it up for voluntarily surrendering. And actually, I would say that my application is in suspension. So maybe I need to speak to, well, no, hopefully in 4 weeks it will be sorted. But anyway, so this covers the revocation and refusal to grant. So it covers both revocation and refusal. We do not cover claims in relation to any criminal acts or offences which breach statutory regulations. So if you have been, I believe, charged with a criminal act and they've revoked your certificate, well, that's sort of hook, line and sinker. Like you did it, you've been found guilty, you did something bad, they've taken your certificates away. Circumstances where you have knowingly declared false information, again, that's fraud. So if you've acted fraudulently, don't expect them to cover you. Any professionally diagnosed medical condition, including mental health, or because of any medication that has been prescribed to you, that is a bit shitty. So if they refuse for any medical condition, including mental health, they will not cover you. That's actually very important to know. I still think for £26.50, if you think you're going to get refused by medical grounds, which this may not cover, it's £26.50. I think you should get it. Ownership or possession of a crossbow. I know it's in relation to, but ownership of it's like, yeah, you don't have a crossbow but license let. Yeah, any change in firearms legislation, criminal prosecution defense of your legal rights where criminal proceedings have been brought against you for breach of firearms legislation. We do not cover claims in relation to deliberate criminal acts or omissions, a prosecution as a result of being a prohibited person under the Firearms Act. So that's if you've had a custodial sentence for over 3 months, any professionally diagnosed medical conditions. So I think it's still pretty all encompassing. And yeah, for £26.50, and don't get me wrong, if you get into the nitty gritty and the black and white of the UK PSA's insurance, there's going to be certain caveats and catch-alls. It's insurance at the end of the day. It's always about the small print. But again, Ripe Shooting Insurance seems to offer some of the best for the least amount. But if you are interested in practical shooting, I would just join the UK PSA. Now, personally, I'm a UK PSA member, and I've got the Ripe insurance, and we also have business insurance specifically for legal issues. That's criminal matters, but also licensing issues. And we have been very specific with our insurance company and have it in writing. I've almost framed the I've almost framed it, which basically says yes, if any of the directors have any issues with firearm certification, or the business itself has an issue with firearm certification, we will be covered. So I have 3 insurances to choose from. No wonder Hampshire haven't wanted to refuse my I'm like, fine, refuse it. We're going to court. I just need to pick what insurance we're going to use. Anyway, that's my very long-winded answer to if you're a practical shooter, UK PSA. If not, then go to Gunplan. Let's have a look what you guys have been saying. Thank you for your patience. If you've been asked a question, you've been waiting there a little while. Chris, Callum, have you tested the SIG 522 with your mags yet? No, unfortunately, we haven't. That's because we don't have a SIG 522 in at the moment. We did. That's why we were able to develop and release the upgraded firing pin that we make for the SIG 522. That's available on maglo.co.uk. Just saying. I've got Magload. There we go. It's just slightly out of focus, just like Connor's. It's okay. I can get away with this. He doesn't watch the streams, and now everyone's going to be sending it to him. Yeah, I've said worse. Yeah, so we ended up sending that 522 back. If somebody would like to loan a SIG 522 to us for a couple of days, Connors can get the range and we can test it. It's definitely not a no. Connors was like, it might need its own adapter with the magazine, but that's not a problem. That can be designed and tested. But no, we haven't been able to test it ourselves yet. Daniel, remember to like the stream? Yes, remember to like the stream. Neil, that was my main reason that I joined BASC. Didn't see the Didn't see the point renewing my membership once they got rid of it. Absolutely, you and many alike. It would be interesting to know, actually, because it is something ridiculous. Remember, let's bring the accounts back up, and just so Heppy can feel calm and doesn't have to confuse the hell out of me, we are looking at the December 2022 accounts. The BASC fund's gone down and we can have knives. That the t-shirt's getting longer, isn't it? Right. What surplus, where is it? These are some of the most funky accounts that I've ever seen, if I'm going to be completely honest. It is there we go. Income. The membership income is £10 million a year. 10 million. I can't. Can I work out? Because I've always had doubts about this 150,000 membership. Certainly after they removed the legal expenses insurance and loads of people joined them, and I'm like, how like, I know people are leaving you left, right, and center. Like, how can you still say how can you still say like it's 150? Like, surely it's gone down. Right, but unfortunately, they have a lot of different membership plans because they've got family, they've got joint, all that, but yeah, whatever. The full membership is 89 pounds a year. So if you do 10 million, and I know this is seriously flawed thinking and maths, but it's really what I've got to go for. 89. That's 120,000 members. You know, if the membership fee is £89, that's 120. So I don't know where they're getting this 150 from. You know, granted, you know, if I go a senior citizen, um, oh, don't do it, Callum. Don't do it. Let's take senior citizen as a representative of the BASC membership fee. I don't know why we would do that. Um, £77. Okay, if divided by £77 and you've got Ergo member of that, that's 140. So yeah, 150 could be in the realms of possibility. It's definitely up to 150, and I would say it's probably in the region of 120 to 150. Right? Forgotten the point that I was making with this one. Um, Oh, yes. How many people left because they lost their because they gave up their legal expenses insurance? Bearing in mind that, you know, let's say £77 a pop, and let's say we're using 750,000 um, pounds as the cost for the legal expenses insurance, which might be massively out. I don't know. I mean, Ripe is charging you £11 to add it on. So BASC negotiating a pretty significant discount. I think £5 is fair. That's 9,700 members. Did BASC lose 10,000 members because of their legal expenses issues? I don't know. Like what I'm getting to is like have BASC like probably quite literally shot themselves in the foot. You know, oh, we're going to save a load of money by not doing legal expenses insurance. Oh, we've lost a load of members actually to the same amount of, you know, we've now lost as an equivalent income to what we've just saved in legal expenses insurance. I'm sure they're probably in those sort of ballparks. Anyway, um, BASC is okay if you're one of the tweed and silly sock and trouser brigade. Look, I've had my fair share of days dressing up in tweed, silly socks, and trousers. I do quite enjoy game shooting. Granted, when it's my own money, I've never actually paid for a day of game shooting. I've been quite fortunate in that. Um, if it was my own money, I would find quite a lot of other things to spend it on, but it is still quite enjoyable. And I think 11Zs is probably one of the greatest conceptions ever. Just at, you know, 11 o'clock after the first or second drive, crack open the slow gin, champagne, whiskey, whatever, and have some nibbles. Like that's a fantastic idea. Like, why don't we do this every day? Why isn't there 11Zs every day? Why do you have to be stood in a field in the middle of the countryside shooting at some pheasants to justify doing that? Is it just me? The stream has been interrupted by 4 sets of adverts so far. I will speak to YouTube about that. I will collar its ear. Apologies for that. I will check the settings. That does seem pretty extreme. There is ad blocker. Ad blocker's very good. Lol. So it was £1 million. They spent 296,000 on a £4,000 case. BASC completely out of touch. I didn't join because they dropped the insurance. Just had another set. It's only been going for 30 minutes. It's worse than ITV. I mean, like YouTube isn't paying me for it, so pay me that YouTube money. Does BASC know we can have knives? we need a we can have knives fighting fund. There we go. Oh, now I'm into all the messages of Heppy just completely misunderstanding the point. The funds have gone down, and we can have knives. Paul, evening. Are the small insurance okay to go with, or is it just better to go with known brands like the CPSA? I found one called country cover club for £32.95, or would this be unreliable when needed? I tell you what, this is something that I've been meaning to do for many, many years now. Um, I'm going to have to call up Ripe, because literally all these clubs do, um, is it's not the clubs offering the insurance, right? They're not selling you the insurance. It is a membership perk, and it's in a lot of these cases it's got to be worded like this, because to sell insurance, there's all sorts of regulations. You've got to be on all sorts of, approved FCA and all of that, right? Um, so the UK PSA is not, it's like one of these of like, we are not a lender, we're a finance broker or whatever. They're not even that. They're not even brokering the insurance. But when you say about it being reliable, Country Cover Club isn't the organization that's doing the insurance, right? It's like when you go onto Ripe, it's underwritten by Aviva. So Ripe is purely just selling you a product from Aviva. They've gone to Aviva and gone, look, we want to sell this product. How much are you going to charge us for this? We're then going to add our profit margin onto it and sell it to and promote it to other people. And that's really what, BASC was doing, or technically still is, with its liability insurance. It's all the UK PSA is doing. They're going and paying for an insurance for all of its members, and then tacking some money on top of that to cover it and wipe its face and make some money. Although it doesn't make money, it gets reinvested into the sport. So it doesn't really matter who you get these insurances through. What you need to understand is who the ultimate insurer is, who the underwriter is on it, and how they will deal with it. Because it won't be Country Cover Club handling it. They will literally just pass you to the insurers, and the insurers will pass you on to their chosen solicitors. So what I've generally wanted to do for a very long time is actually go to Ripe, or go to Aviva, or go to some bloody insurance company, and create my own insurance effectively. Now, it might be just a carbon copy of the UK PSA, or even Ripe, but I'm pretty sure I can get it down. I'm really not that worried about the liability insurance, because if you're a member of any association group or whatever, everything comes with public liability. Being a member of an NRA, you've got public liability. UK PSA, you've got public liability. BASC, you've got public liability. Every single one of these organizations, probably being a member of your home office approved club, gives you, certainly when shooting with them, a level of public liability. Public liability is not the issue. So what I was thinking, you saw there, it was £11 to add on legal expenses insurance. Of going to these companies and actually making my own legal expenses insurance, purely just legal expenses insurance, nothing else, so that people can go and add it on. I should have done this like 4 years ago when they removed it. Probably would be able to buy another house by now. But let me know if you would be interested in that sort of an English shooting revocation guru approved legal expenses insurance. I would be more than happy to go in and do that and formulate that and offer that as a service. I would rather, in brass tacks, be lining my own pockets than the likes of Ripe, Aviva, or BASC. Not that they offer it, or Country Cover Club, but yeah, it's something I've thought about doing a long time. And the other stipulation is that the go-to solicitor would be Laura Swansbury, and I've actually spoken to her about this as well. She'd be up for that. Of course she would. It's more income, right? So yes, if you would pay for that, if you would pay for the English shooting approved legal expenses insurance, and there's enough interest, I will look into that. Adverts. Lots of people. It usually warns me when it's about to do an ad. Unfortunately, I don't think I can. I'm going to delay ads. Oh, I've done it for 10 minutes. There we go. You've at least got 10 minutes, maybe slightly better than ITV now. Are you aware of the consultation for crossbow licensing? Yes. Thank you for reminding me, because there are 2 consultations that you need to be aware of. The first is the crossbow. Let me put that in the chat box. There you go. And now it zoomed me right down to the bottom. And the second, before it zooms me again, is the sound moderators. So check those out. It's like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just click those link, fill it out. I will be doing dedicated videos on them very, very soon. Yes, I know, probably should have done them like a couple of weeks ago, but I've been busy, all right? Give me a break. So am I aware of the consultation for crossbows? Yes, let's just show everyone what we're talking about. If you don't know about it, share this tab instead. Controls on crossbow, call for information and evidence around whether we should introduce licensing of crossbow on public safety grounds. You need to go and fill this up, because this is really, it's one of these things, oh, we'll just ban things into being safer. Yeah, no. And the other one is the firearms licensing on sound moderators, consultation on proposal to use a legislative reform order to remove sound moderators from firearms license controls. Of course, this makes perfect sense. There is no risk to anybody from a sound moderator. Get them off ticket, make firearms licensing's job a little easier. Igor, so what's the best and cost effective? We've gone through that. Should definitely be topped up to 7 figures at the start of each year to even make that claim. Absolutely. And as far as every single year that we have seen their accounts happy, it has never been 7 figures. The closest was in the first year when it hit £706,000 in 2020. It's not, it's not even close. And that's why I think it's ultimately an absolute mistake that they were even parade it as a 7-figure fund. And I know what they're going to say, oh, we'd pull the money from elsewhere. Well, no, that's not a ring-fenced fund then, is it? A ring-fenced fund means you've got a line item in your account, like in my mind, a bank account, which is purely for the fighting fund. Something my GP is messing about. What's the health check service that I can use instead of my own GP? Looking to apply for SGL or SGC. Is that meant to be? Southampton based. Medicert. Or they've now, well, there's Simply Medicals is one I've just found, or Medicert. The Medicert is the one that I've seen. See, this is what I should do. I should arrange my own legal expenses insurance, offer that out, and negotiate a discount with the likes of Medicert. Hold them to ransom. Be like, look, you want me promoting your stuff. There you go, 60 quid. Oh, it's gone up. It used to be like 50 quid, I swear. But Medicert, that's one that I've never actually used myself. Fortunately, my GP's always been very, very good. But I know the issues that a lot of people have, and Medicert, I've heard lots of good things about, and it's the one that I would, through those people, recommend, but I have never used it myself. Hornbeam, tried 2.5 years for an SGC in Northern country. It's been stopped due to home visit during COVID, apparently. Yeah, that was a while ago now. 2.5 years, those are rookie numbers, though. Can't really start complaining until you've been over 3 years. UK PSA then, thanks. How much is it, please? Oh, I covered all that. So hopefully you saw it. Yes, few members of my gun club said the same. They just a waiting game. No, FLD can still keep using COVID as an excuse for lazy bad service. Absolutely. The ghoul, like the absolute ghoul of any firearms licensing department to even suggest that COVID is still delaying or preventing them from doing their job. It is just unfathomable. How do you not have a decent email address when you own the domain? Because reasons. I've always used the Gmail account. Maybe because it's free. I know, stop being poor, all of that. I don't know. I've never felt, Callum at EnglishShooting.com, FAC help at EnglishShooting.com. I don't own the .com, unfortunately. It's I think that was part of it because I wasn't able to get the .uk or the .com. Excuse me. So I like the .org. It was just a bit like, like I don't know. I probably should. I should probably just stop being poor and pay for the email hosting on the English shooting. Andy, I'm with Ripe. Great service. It's good to know. If you add the equipment cover and then your firearms are covered against damage that's left at slash theft, and that took it up to 60 to 70 pound a year. But from memory, I'm covered up to 5k, which more than covers all my gear. Something that you should. Interesting. I've been. He normally watches the stream, so it would be very interesting. So someone's just messaged me about the BASC uses Fighting Fund to help member, and he's like, maybe you should chat to them, and I'm like, probably not now after this stream. Could you just like, hey BASC, hey, it's me. Yeah, don't go on the channel. Just don't. You don't need to go on the channel for any reason at all. Fancy sharing the love of that Fighting Fund. Putting your money where your mouth is. I'm not a BASC member, so I'm not saying I'm out of being, sort of spineless enough to join specifically to make use of the Fighting Fund, especially as I think my case would set pretty good precedent going forward for other people. Certainly, if they were able to obtain compensation because of it. But no, I'm insured to the hilts. That is not the reason. If I end up joining BASC at some point, and I've not ruled out joining them again at some point to support them. And to be honest, we've thought of actually becoming a trade member with Magload. It's purely, I'll say it's a badge of honor. It's not. It's more there is a value to a lot of people in seeing that BASC trade member. That is purely the reason that we would join in terms of Magload. But me individually, it won't be to get access to their Fighting Fund. If I rejoin, it will be because I genuinely think my money will be being put to good use. But when you go digging through for the financials, I really can't say at the moment that the money is being put to good use. But anyway. Callum, we all know where the money's gone. It's been spent on developing pigeon spaghetti recipes. I mean, I'm not going to say that it is that is a bad expenditure of money. The Pigeon Avian Spaghetti Committee. I need to start making shirts. I need to making shirts and patches and stickers. Ads will resume shortly for some delay ads. Fighting you off here. So I literally, I genuinely, I can't turn ads off, but I can delay them for 10 minutes at a time. I can even just insert an ad. So you start whinging more, and I will insert an ad just to prove a point. Anyway, British Avian Spaghetti Committee. That out of all the shirts, that does need to. I wonder what. Oh, this is going to be. Let's go. Let's go to an AI art generator. I am not going to show this live. British Avian. What was it? British Avian Spaghetti Committee. Spaghetti. Oh, my spelling is bad. Spaghetti Committee generate. Look, I'm just going to make sure that this is safe for work before create your free account. Are you serious? Right, back we go. Let's find somewhere else. AI generator. British Avian Spaghetti. I still can't. I can't spell. I'm dyslexic, all right? Leave me alone. Have I spelled that right? Not even. No, I spent everything. British Avian Spaghetti Committee. Or create. This is either going to give me nightmares or be brilliant. Let's I mean it's not wrong. It's really not. It's not wrong, is it? I mean, that's that is the British Avian Spaghetti Committee. Let's see if we. Oh, let's go logo. Oh, it's just going to be that in a logo, isn't it? Come on, logo. I mean, it tried. That is it. That is going on a t-shirt. Obviously, I'm going to make sure it is spelt correctly. Let me just screenshot that. Still spelled committee. Oh no, it just wants to capitalize it. That. Well, but where's the spaghetti? Where is this where's the spaghetti? Can I get it to let's try it again. Welcome everyone as we find our meme t-shirts for BASC. That is pretty good. And that looks more like a pigeon. That does look more like a pigeon. I'm literally just taking screenshots of this so I actually remember. It needs to be a mixture of the two. I'm just going to sit here creating them. Like, seriously, one of these is going on a t-shirt. Mark my words. And Connors is going to think that I've gone into work drunk tomorrow. You're like, Connors, we're putting a bird in spaghetti on a t-shirt and calling it the British Avian Spaghetti Committee. Shouldn't it be the one? Oh, you've got a BASC, British. Yeah, no, I think it's a mixture between those two. It's got to be a mixture between those two. But that I take that. That's got legs. A sort of. It's got to be a pigeon, isn't it? It's got to be a pigeon. Is there anything? Oh, let's. Oh, this is. Oh, that's premium. Create. No credits required. Can I go 3 for free? No, 1. Seed image. Modify an image or use an image to inspire results. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I am going to get sued by BASC. I'm surprised it didn't. It took this long to be fair. What is their their modern day logo? I'm definitely not going on to the BASC's Facebook page and downloading their logo right now. It's not happening. Don't sue me, BASC. See profile picture, save image as. No, I mean, no, I'm not doing that. Let's go back to here, seed image. Oh, definitely do not want you going through my files. Let me show. I'll just turn it off for a sec. There we go. Let me select it. You do not want to see what's on my desktop. The world is not ready for it. I need like a clean Mac, and not that reason. AI art generators. So definitely haven't just uploaded BASC's logo. You're seeing things. create credit. Mother. Oh no, no, it's oh. It's either gonna be really horrendous or really good. AI tends to go one of two ways. Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's give it a little bit of flexibility. AI is so fun. Sorry, I am sure there's lots of you that really couldn't give a toss. Oh, yes. Let's try, oh, that's literally the that, that's just an outright copy. No, I think it's gonna be that. That is my I've got legs on that. Anyway, where were we? Where were we? Finally got my first t-shirt design. Thank you, Happy. Oh, no, while we're at it, screw it. We're going in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's crank this back up to like 0.2 and go, we can have knives. You knew it was coming, Happy. You knew it was coming. Yes. Yes. It needs some work, but that I like where it's going. I'm going to turn the picture off in a second, just see what it comes out with. But I love the idea of this one being closer to the BASC logo. Yeah, maybe a bit too far. Let's turn the seeding image on. Just we can have knives in logo form. That I think the British Association of Shooting doesn't really work, does it? Come on. What? It was the second one that it really hit it. I mean, like that's what it generated from We Can Have Knives, but that's what it generated from on its first go. Well, no, that is, but on logo it generated. Yeah, but I want it to actually say it. Anyway, that's probably enough now. There is definitely a We Can Have Knives t-shirt coming. Good idea on insurance. Use Opera built-in ad block browser of champions. Chrome all the way. Happy Medicert have gone downhill. Were awful in my experience. Okay. I've never used them. I have to say it's one of those that even if they are bad and slow, I have heard stories of them taking, a little while. But it's better than if your GP just outright refuses. Having to wait a little while for them to do it is better than not having it at all. Andy, if you're having very long grant or renewal issues, you need to ask your FLD their complaints procedure. As you know, they don't like complaints and things should move quickly. In my experience, they are not very receptive to complaints, or maybe the manner of complaint. But anyway, the greatest success that I've had is two ways. Either instructing a solicitor. They do seem to be a lot more responsive to a firearms specialist solicitor, which is why I recommend Laura Salisbury so much, because she does this day in, day out. She knows what sort of games they play. She knows what sort of tricks they will pull. So she will, she can't have the wall. Oh, have I managed to pause ads completely? I think I have. There we go. So you just got to double click it. You've got to remember that. Anyway, she won't have the wool pulled over her eyes. You know, she wasn't born yesterday, and she knows what games they play. So, you know, having a solicitor like Laura Salisbury can be very, very powerful and get you moving very, very quickly. Um, what I've found more recently, and the progress that I've experienced more recently, is writing to the chief constable. Because at the end of the day, they don't really care about firearms licensing, and they certainly don't want to be interrupted and, um, you know, inconvenienced because of a firearms licensing department not doing their job. Furthermore, chief constables are pretty, I don't know, aware now of what happens when a firearms licensing department isn't doing their job. So, you know, writing to the chief constable, you know, don't be rude, be professional, be polite, and whilst certainly I've experienced this myself, you get growing, you become growingly more frustrated, and as you work up the ladder, the temptation is just to get more and more leery, right? But what you've got to remember is when you go up the ladder, that's the first time you've spoken to that person. It doesn't matter whether you've been waiting 3 years with an inept department and predecessors. It's you're talking to somebody new. That's why I'm, you know, giving this latest lady in charge of the firearms department. Like, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's a blank slate. You know, I've never spoken to this chief constable either. So, you know, you've got to reset yourself every time you go up the ladder. Reset yourself, and if you put your case forward and write a, you know, calm, polite, professional email, letter, or whatever to them, and go, look, this is the problem. This is why I think it's wrong, and this is what I think the solution is, or this is what I would like to see happen. Then, you know, you'll be surprised what that will achieve. If only the pigeon had a tweed jacket and a farmer's cap. Do I still have the buy credits for commercial use? British I'll get this. How do you spell? Let me. Where was it? Avian spaghetti committee. Tweed flat cap. Look, if you give me encouragement, I will just roll with it. Come on, please be glorious. Please be glorious. British Avian Spaghetti Committee tweed flat cap. I mean, again, it's not. It's a committee. Bird in tweed jacket wearing flat cap. Oh, I'm gonna take what I didn't think I'd be writing in an AI image generator for 100, please. It is. I know exactly what you mean. Oh. Pigeon, not bird. Pigeon. No, that style. We are so close. There is certainly, between everything that has been generated so far here, there is something here. I can feel it. So I'm getting all giddy. Yes. Oh my God. It needs to be that on that. That is it. That is it. That is glorious. This is what we have been waiting AI to deliver us. Let's try wearing a flat pack. Sat. It's better than me trying to butcher spell it. Pigeon in tweed. Chat. Wearing flat cap. Sat in spaghetti. This is what we want. Come on. Come on. We are so close. That's definitely inspiration. I've definitely got enough to go to Fiverr and get someone in Pakistan to draw it for me. That's for sure. Come on. Oh, I don't know where the spaghetti is. Wonder what happens when you just put pigeon spaghetti. Just gives you the BASC logo. Bigio. Sack it. Yeah. Pigeon spaghetti. Yeah, I think that though. That is perfection. I need that with oh no, I've got it. I know how to win. I know how to win. Pigeon in tweed and flat cap, and then I seed image. Oh god, I'm gonna turn my screen off again, aren't I? Let's turn that off. There we go. Upload this little image. No, I want new image. So I seed that one. Yes. Yes, I am almost here. I think I am winning with the AI. Let's bring this up. We will get there. I mean, yeah, I could just draw it in Photoshop, but CVA, this is far too. Yes. We are so close. We are so close. Just throwing everything at it. Everything at all. Come on. This is it. I swear, I promise. This is the last one. And I'll carry on through the comments and questions. Oh. Anyway, I said it was the last one. I'm so close. So close. Anyway, if only the pigeon had a tweet. Stop giving me these suggestions. Got an email address from my club. They forwarded it to my local FLO and not had a reply. That was over a month ago. I'm putting a complaint in work. I'm putting a complaint in work. I'm all for it. Got an email address from my club and they forwarded it to my local FLO and not had a reply. I mean, a month isn't really, I know it is quite long, but in terms of certificate applications, really not that much. I'm enjoying this more than I really should. You and me both now. Callum, Ruger Precision Rimfire or Tikka TX1? I'm really the wrong person to ask. I'm going to be completely honest on that. I think bang for your buck and performance, probably the Ruger Precision. The Tikka in general is just a little bit more premium. So I would say it's it's Italian. There's a little bit more, form over function with it, whereas the Ruger Precisions are more function over form. Chrome takes up too much RAM. No, that's why I've got 64 gigs. It's fine. You can Photoshop the text onto the AI image. Yes, I will. Don't worry. I can do that. I'm at least patient enough to do that. What are the headlines? Seen some bits on catapults as well as crossbow stuff. Yeah, they're sort of coming over everything. BASC managed to help one member with their fighting fund in the last 4 years. And is that the fighting fund that's going down, Happy? Just to be completely clear that in 2022 it was less than 21, which was less in 2020. Like, are you aware of that? Are you aware that there are some 22 accounts and they are less than 21 and less than 22? And also, we can have knives. Just being absolutely clear on this one. I'm such a prick. Um, I want royalties. Exciting news. BASC truly an inspiration. Watching Callum repeatedly try and spell spaghetti is painful. I'm sorry. Spelling is not my strong spot. Like, life is a balance, right? Life is a balance, and the way I see it is, you've got good at maths and good at spelling, and most people sort of sit there. I'm like genuinely up here. Maths, not a problem. Love numbers. Numbers don't lie. Like, they're kind. They're kind to you. They don't lie to you. They don't. There's the amount of contradictions within spelling and language is unreal. And they tried to make me do German, and I'm like, there's 3 of everything. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't care what a chair. Something can't be like, an inanimate object can't be feminine and masculine, and like, what are you talking about? Yeah, language is just not my thing. Really isn't. But numbers, I like numbers. It's almost like I'd be a good treasurer. Anyway, that AI looks rubbish. Look, if any of you are off, you know what I'm going for. Here we go. What prize can I give? An exclusive cigar and bourbon night with my Connors and with my Connors, myself and Connors. To in my opinion, there's going to be no fair metrics about this. If you would like to submit your entry, you know what I'm going for. If you're just watching this, rewind 15 minutes. I dare you. You know what I'm going for with this. If you want to put your submission for the British avian spaghetti, can't even sell it. Never say it. Never mind spell it. The British avian spaghetti committee. If you want to put forward your logo for the British avian spaghetti community, the winner that I will pick biasly will win. Will get a once in a lifetime invitation down to the Magload HQ, a one-on-one tour of all the Willy Wonka goodness that goes on there. I really need to do a tour. I keep reminding myself how we've been there for like 3 years and I've still not actually shown you guys around it, which is mental. Mainly because of the amount of health and safety infractions that would be visible just in one area. Just would put us out of business anyway. We actually take health and safety pretty seriously. Just saying, just getting that one out there. The winner of said competition will win all expenses paid trip down to the Magload HQ for a bourbon and cigar night. We can stream it. That will be it. You can even come on stream. I won't make you go on stream, but if you want to, we can stream as well. So if you'd like to submit your submission for the logo for the British Avian Spaghetti Committee, email your entries to EnglishShooting@gmail.com, and I will. Yes, happy. I don't have an EnglishShooting domain, or you can submit them to callum@maglo.co.uk. There, you happy. Jesus. It could be like Peter Piper picked a pick of pickled peppers with Heppy, Hepta, Hipper, Potter, Hipper, whatever. Yes. Callum@maglo.co.uk, and it's 2 L's. The amount of people that still use one, and I swear you're just doing it now to prove a point, but CALLUM @maglo.co.uk or EnglishShooting@gmail.com. Big up the GFam. Put your submissions in. Winner, we will wine and dine you. And we will be at some point when Heppy, as promised, reminding you of this, as promised, when we get a hold of a certain Come Dine With Me episode, we will be holding a private viewing at the Magload HQ, and it will be a free-for-all. you'll be welcome to come down, cigars, bourbon, and come dine with me. And the people may be watching this going, why the hell would a group of guys sit there with cigars and bourbon and watch Come Dine With Me? If you know, you know. And if you don't, you need to. Head over to the Discord. I'm sure they will educate you. But yes, Happy, if you can supply that episode and find it, we will host an evening of cigar bourbons and come dine with me. But if you want to win 2-on-1 with Connors and me, oh, it's not an offer you'll get many times in your lifetime. Then yeah, logos for the British Avian Spaghetti community, EnglishShooting@gmail.com. Anyway, them top 2 pictures with the spaghetti hanging from the beak. Yes, I will. Yeah. Got any gum reviews in the work? Well, I do actually. Got a video about the Smizer, not so much a review, but actually talking about why the Smizer straight pull 9mm is so different to all the other ones and what actually makes it really good. That's been in. I've been really bad over the last 12 months. I know I've been really bad for videos. I will pull my finger out at some point. I promise. We will. The channel is not dead. Got any gum reviews? Yeah. Lantac is still on offer. The actual biggest issue is having somewhere to shoot it. I genuinely tend to only shoot in competition. We're working on that. So as soon as I've got a bit of land that I can go shoot on and film and that I don't hate cameras, then I oh, Tikka is finished. I was thinking about well, it's owned by Beretta, isn't it? It's Italian. I don't know where I got. I was just thinking Beretta. Everything's made by Beretta. It's because I was talking to somebody today about Beretta and how many brands they own and how basically everything's under Beretta. It's Finnish, owned by Italians. Wait, Brits can have knives now? I know. Ask Kepi. He seems to be the knife availability update expert. Is that the one where the guy eats the whisk? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I've never seen the episode. I've seen various GIFs and memes of said episode. You have still not seen it. You were meant to be getting it for us. The key is finding a student. The key to what? The key to a good time. Are your fingers sore after all the packing you were doing last week? It was pretty, but we had this sort of explosion over the last week or two, and then also backlog of stuff, and everything sort of came in at once, and it was just a bit mental. Oh yeah, that's partly because Connor's decided to knob off for like 5 days. Hence why I was using the GT4, and also because my Volvo is very, very poorly at the moment. So that is what I usually have. But the GT4 managed. It's actually pretty roomy and practical when doing post runs. Everything did fit in there, and it did the job. And I got to the post office in record time. I wonder why. Do you guys have straight ball scars, and are they also overpriced like they are in the US? Annoyingly, you are right about ownership. I don't get it. I don't always get it wrong, Black Guinea Pig. You little. Like, of course it's Beretta Holdings. Like that, I know. Annoyingly, you're right about the ownership. Like that's a surprise. Oh, Callum's right. What a surprise. Do you have? I don't know if anybody makes. I mean, you can get an airsoft one. UK. I've never seen. Well, you can. Yeah, there are dealers, but they are spicy ones. Very, very Section 5 spicy. No, I was just checking to see if someone had come out the woodworks and started doing them. No, Joe has it. Who's Joe and what does he have? Oh, Joe has it. Oh, the episode is available on a streaming service available to film students. Students have access to the media archive it resides. Yes, this is stuff I all know. Someone may or may not sued the episode off for on demand, allegedly. Thank you for the stream. Can I have a switch off? No, thank you for joining. Canon Renovations have a new Scar inspired 12 gauge shotgun. Yes, that is, but it's not the Scar. But that is something I'm hoping to get my hands on at some point. If someone could like just message Joe and get him to forward that episode, I'd really appreciate it. We won't get him in trouble. It will be a private viewing. Don't worry. There will be pizza, beers, bourbons, and come dine with me. There we go. And anyway, on that note, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Before you leave, make sure you've hit that like button if you haven't already. I realize I poured this great big lemon squash and didn't have any. That's because I was too busy trying to make pigeon logos and drink my bourbon. But there we go. Love you and leave you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Hope you've enjoyed it, even though it's like the English shooting BASC bashing design studio. Hope you all have a fantastic week ahead. We should be here, same place, same time next week. Hopefully, you just named Joe. yeah, Daniel, for somebody that likes to criticize me for doxing, but which Joe should have my mag soon then? Magazine soon. But yeah, anyway, guys, have a fantastic week ahead. I hope you get some shooting in this weekend. I've got to turn all of this off, so this actually, so there we go. Get it already. Make sure it works before I go. But there we go. Thanks, guys. Take care. Make sure you like, subscribe, and of course, as always, hope to see you soon.